So, Foster's not here this week, which means it's time for me to do a history episode. We're not going to need this. This is Fresh Happenings. This is nice. So on today's episode, I'm going to try and tell you the entire history of Chester in under 5 minutes. So let's start with prehistory, the dinosaurs. Well, there were dinosaurs all over the UK, so we can move on. So seeing as we're doing the entire history of Chester, we might as well just jump up to the Romans. Chester is pretty much known for its Roman walls. But why did the Romans come to Chester? You know why? The Irish. Oh, you want some more information on that? With Chester only being a couple of miles from the sea, it made a perfect base for the Romans to plan their invasion of Ireland. Interesting fact, Chester was actually the most northwest point of the entire Roman Empire. Pretty cool. So the Romans built the walls. So imagine this. You're a young man being told you're going to fight for the Roman Empire. You get on your kit, then you get slogged off to rainy Chester. They didn't even fight anyone. They spent most of their time cutting bricks to make the wall. I'll be honest, I would be peeved. Chester was actually the biggest of all fortresses in the UK. It even had an amphitheatre. I've done some digging on this. I don't think it was anything like this. It was more like this. So why did the Romans leave Chester? Being the historian that I am, I'd take a punt. As the Empire withdrew, so did the Romans, leaving Chester empty for whoever came next. So I know you're asking, who did come next? Well, it was those beardy bastards, the Vikings. Well, the Vikings, they were pretty lazy really. The only thing I can find is that they robbed a load of graves from the Roman graveyard and threw them onto the wall to make it bigger. Cheers for that, Vikings. Thrilling part of the video. So now, we're on to William the Conqueror. 1066, he won the Battle of Hastings, but he didn't take Chester until 1069. So what did William the Conqueror do to Chester once he'd conquered it? Well, basically, he was a brilliant little property developer. He added a little extension here, moved that round there, but kept this bit intact. Added a few more buildings, voila! Kind of the Chester we know now. Whew. We're through to the Middle Ages. Not a lot really happened. The only interesting fact I can find from this time period, if you were Welsh and found within the city walls after dusk, an Englishman could shoot you with a crossbow. And that law still stands. Well, it kind of still stands, but international law overrules it, so if you're Welsh and in the city, you're fine. Until Brexit. We're getting closer to the present day, and we've reached the English Civil War. Now Chester was on the Royalist side, also known as the Cavaliers, and who can blame them? Look at these guys. Now, for those of you not up on your history, they were against the Roundheads, led by Oliver Cromwell. He cancelled Christmas, and I think he's a dick. So good old King Charles chose Chester as a base. Why did he choose Chester? Yeah, we're back to him again, because of the Irish. The Irish have a lot to do with Chester. So King Charles held Chester, waiting for his Irish allies to arrive. So King Charles sat and watched his Cavalier army fight the Roundheads. It didn't go well. For those of you who know history, he lost that battle. He was sat in this little room watching it. So next time you pass this building, well, that's what it is. He didn't have telly, he watched it live. We're getting ever nearer. We're into the Victorian age, and wasn't she a looker? Queen Victoria on her Jubilee gave us a clock. I suppose it's better than a pair of socks. The clock has kind of become the symbol of Chester. It's on thousands of pamphlets and hard drives around the world, because tourists are always taking pictures of it. What else is there to say about Victoria? Not a lot, really. Which brings us on to the present day. We've got a Poundland, we've got a Greggs. We used to have a Woolies, but that's gone. So all that's left to say is like, share and subscribe, and see you next time on Fresh Happenings. Oh, and I can hear Chris in my head telling me that I should thank the patrons, so cheers!